You're listening to Sweep the League.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
What is going on, everybody? It is the Thirsty Thursday edition of Sweep the League. Almost Friday, almost San Japan time for those of y'all going to San Japan. Just a reminder, I'll be out there this weekend with the family. We're going to be out there Saturday and Sunday. A couple other people I've heard are going to be there as well, so be on the lookout. I think Saturday I'll be wearing my Sweep the League shirt, so it shouldn't be too hard to recognize me here. But nonetheless, it's almost Friday. Hey, we're going to end the week tomorrow with a 9 o'clock show again, and then it's for the weekend. Just a quick reminder, well, not even a reminder, just an announcement. We're going to be off on Monday, so it's Labor Day. Gio doesn't like to work, so we're going to just take the day off on Monday. It is Labor Day, so it's his favorite holiday, so he doesn't have to work at all. So definitely we will be off on Monday for Labor Day, just an FYI. So it's going to be myself. It's going to be Derek Irvin tonight. Derek is on his way onto the stream here, getting set up right now. But nonetheless, man, welcome back to Sweep the League. Again, our Monday and Wednesday shows, we try to go live during the day. Sometimes work happens. We've got other stuff that goes on, so we just run a replay at 9 o'clock. But again, we'll keep everybody updated. We're not going to let you guys down on anything like that. So it's college football weekend. We're already on upset alert. And I'm not even talking about Colorado and North Dakota State. So we're going to get into that talk as well. Also, Derek's got some conversations, some NBA conversations. Didn't have to do with the Spurs at all. So just FYI, it doesn't have to do with the Spurs at all. But nonetheless, we're going to get into some NBA conversations. Let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend himself. We're going to bring in Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. And you know what? He is going into the Hall of Fame this year for UTSA. UTSA kicks off the football season this Saturday in the Dome, Kennesaw State. It's going to be fun. Sweep the League is going to be covering UTSA football. We won't be there this weekend. But in week 4, when they play, I think it's Houston, we will be at the Dome. So be sure to look for us out there. Come say hi. Let's bring him on right now. It's Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. Derek, welcome back, man. How you been? Dude, feels like we've been gone for a while, but we really haven't.
I'm doing well tonight, Rudy. Keeping up with a couple of these games and seeing if Colorado can pull it out with their new year. So we can see if some new, same things or some things going to change.
Can you confirm that I did text out in the group checks that Colorado probably would lose tonight?
Yeah, you said it. Yeah, that's a very good possibility. And you said you were calling it first, and it still looked like it could happen. They just got a big sack. So, but still.
A big sack is good, but you know what? It's funny that's considered probably an upset. Not as big as the upset that's going on right now with Western Carolina currently ahead of North Carolina State, number 24 North Carolina State. They're up 21-17 in the third quarter, and actually the end of the third quarter. They're going into the fourth quarter. So we could have another ranked team go down.
Another one that's not in my 12.
Well, yeah, definitely not in my 12 at all, man. Jacob Eric is in here. Let's do it. Let's definitely do it. Appreciate you joining us here, Tim Gonzalez. Of course, you know what, Tim? The Tar Heels are not sucking right now. So, I mean, that's all that matters. I got to bring up the Tar Heel score. I don't even have it up on my screen. There it is, 7-0 right now over Minnesota in the second. So, yeah, I can't talk crap about that. I had to use my PTO time yesterday. Joel Cologne, appreciate you joining, man. Appreciate everybody joining us on the live stream again. You can hit us up on our live stream. Go to YouTube, search at Sweep the League TV. You'll be able to find myself, Derek Irvin, Coach Gio, who's actually now he's on TikTok with me. He posted a TikTok that already got like 2,000-3,000 views, and I don't know. Everybody seems to love Gio. I'm in the wrong position. I'm going to have to give the show to Gio, Derek. He's going to have to take over the show because everybody loves Coach Gio, man. So, again, Derek Irvin, NC State is down. Yeah, we just mentioned NC State being down. This first segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting. And I say that as Tim Gonzalez says Minnesota just scored, tying the game with North Carolina 7-7. But MCS General Contracting. So, I want to get into it first. It's college football season, Derek. We're seeing we saw the hype with Colorado and North Dakota State. Obviously, right now, it is currently. I got the score here. I got to get the score here somewhere, man. I'm so like all these games are going on right now. I'm going like, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here? 20-17. Still, North Dakota State has a lead on Colorado. Is it still too early to call Colorado as you mentioned, the 5-win team this year?
I'm not sold on them. I know they struggled defensively in the first half, but they seem to have made some adjustments in the second half. So it's going to look like it's going to go down to the wire. And people have to remember, North Dakota State has never been like really a bad team.
No.
If there's certain teams that just pull off upsets the first week of the season, and they've done that before. So it's going to be a great finish. But I'm not that sold on Colorado from the beginning, as you know. Shedeur had a great first half with the 254 yards and the 2 TDs, but I'm not sold on them. I just don't think they're going to win over 5-6 games. I'll even give them 6 games, but that's it.
Yeah. I mean, the 5-6 wins, and actually, as we were talking, Colorado just scored a touchdown, a 13-yard pass from Shedeur Sanders to Travis Hunter. They are up 24-20 right now, which again doesn't really mean much because Cam Miller's been playing really, really good for North Dakota State. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, Colorado's a team that's it's so weird because going into the season, you've heard all the hype, Colorado. It's funny that a story came out earlier today about Colorado where Oregon, they were accusing Oregon of stealing the playbook and cheating and all this stuff. And what is the point of accusing Oregon, a team that, made it into the playoffs? I mean, what is the point of accusing Oregon for stealing? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you got your ass handed to you last year by Oregon. So they didn't need the playbook. They didn't need to cheat to beat a Colorado Buffalo team last year.
And the score was 42-6. I don't even really want to entertain it. The fact Colorado better get ready this year and try to come out and do some things early in the season, because the second half of the season, I think it could be rough. So hopefully they'll get off to a good start like they did last year. But if they don't, hey, there's going to be a lot of questions. One of them will be, will Deion return next year? And, if he's not there, then that means what happens to Warren Sapp and all those other guys. So it's still early, first game of the season. We'll see what happens, but I'm not sold on the Buffaloes.
No, definitely not, man. It's hard to sell on the Buffalo, like to be sold on them. It started when Deion, I liked the hire of Deion Sanders, but when he got to Colorado and he basically walked in and said, I don't need any of you guys. I'm bringing my own guys in, so y'all can just basically leave. That's when my whole, perception, my whole attitude of Deion just went, screw it. I don't like you right now. That's terrible.
Deion is worried about the wrong stuff, Rudy. He's worried more about getting into it with Paul Feinbaum and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He called Paul Feinbaum out. Paul Feinbaum had made comments earlier weeks ago about he didn't consider Colorado relevant. And he has the right to say that because most people don't if they only picking them to win between 5.5 and 6 games. Yeah. But instead of focusing on that, Deion said he wasn't going to clap back, but he did. And so that tells me his mind is in the wrong place. He needs to be trying to get these new guys that he brought to the lineup to the team, trying to get them all in sync. And you can't do that if your mind's somewhere else, worried about basically myself. I'm the coach. I'm worried about myself. And that was the problem last year. He worried about himself, and he worried about his kicker and Travis Hunter, Shedeur, and Shiloh. And that was it. So hopefully this year he'll focus on the whole lineup, man. These guys are still young. They're not NFL players, and they need some guidance. And that's what he needs to be focusing on, trying to build the best team that he can build and stop trying to go at the media, telling them that certain people can't interview him and CBS can't, all that nonsense and picking out reporters that can't interview him. He needs to focus on that team he has down there in Colorado.
Yeah. And that's the thing is Deion's making it about Deion. Haven't we seen that before when he was a player in the NFL? Everything was about Deion. And as a coach, it's never about the coach. It's about your team. It's about the players around that you are coaching. It's about the players in general, man. And Deion makes it about Deion. Yeah, prime time. It's prime time.
Prime. Come on. What coach you know all these you talking about Coach Prime? I mean, what he did in college in the pros has nothing to do with this team that he's inherited as a coach.
Yeah.
So he needs to stop worrying about what he did as a player. This is not the Cowboys, 49ers, Falcons, whoever it may be. He needs to start focusing on those young men that signed up for his program and make sure they're scholar athletes, student athletes.
Yeah, exactly. Oregon don't need a playbook to beat Colorado. Probably could have beat them with their B team last year. I would probably say that is correct. Yeah, I would definitely say that. Oregon didn't need their playbook. And Deion, after one win, saying, "Do you believe now, dude? Calm down." One win, exactly, man. It seems like Deion puts up a lot of, locker room material for other teams, and doesn't really care about the consequence, to be honest with you. I know he overlooked North Dakota State. I can guarantee that. That he definitely overlooked North Dakota State. And I mean, it shows if you're going to go out there and be a dominant team, then this should be a game where you should be up, 34-15 or something like that. I mean, you should be in control with the coaching staff that he has, with the players that he brought in, put in place, and all the talk and all the hype. You just can't buy the Buffaloes being contenders on anything, man. I mean, hell, I don't even have them being one of the top teams in the Big 12, Derek. It's pathetic, man, to call, that team great. And the only person that believes it, the only people that believe it are in that locker room. Let's be honest. They're the only ones that believe it.
Hopefully they believe it. Of course, they're going to say so verbally, but when you practicing every day, you know what kind of team you pretty much have. Yeah. And hopefully the guys will buy in. But the key is, didn't they have the most transfers? They also brought in a lot of guys, incoming guys, but they also had some guys that transferred out. And I know Travis Hunter was saying that they couldn't deal with the discipline and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what discipline? The guy had them in there fighting in practice. Mm-hmm. And when you have to do that, that's not a team. That's not what brings a team together, man. You need to be focusing on all the little things. They need to be worried about how they're going to deal with the trenches and dealing with those hash marks and all those kind of things. That's what they better be focused on this year instead of all the other stuff that comes along with it. Focus on your team and stop worrying about being prime time.
Exactly, man. Exactly. That's what it comes down to. And again, I mean, that's why I said with Shedeur, if he goes to a different school, different coach, gets coached by a different head coach and a different offensive coordinator, then I think his game gets better. And you may see him being talked about as being an NFL draft pick. The only reason why he's being talked about as an NFL draft pick is because of the last name. I mean, the kid has skill. I'm not going to lie. He's got skill, but he's no franchise quarterback. Not right now. Could he turn into one? He could with the right coach, but he's no franchise quarterback. There's if you've got a GM, a VP in the NFL calling him a franchise quarterback, I seriously would question that front office big time, because there's nothing that you see that's a franchise quarterback at all.
Well, Deion's going to keep pushing him because he seems to be the one that Deion says in the family that's closer to how he behaves, has a better relationship because he knows him better than Shedeur, than Shiloh and all these other kids, his family. I don't know what that has to do with football, but they better be focused on this season they got coming up because they got a tough schedule. And when you're only picked to win 5 or 5.5 games, 5.5 to 6 games, you need to be focusing on your task at hand. And that's trying to become a very good team. It's not going to be easy for them this year. And I don't want to see prime time turn into no time because, fans can be fickle if you're doing all that talking, but you're not producing. And I don't want to see that happen to him. So he needs to stop setting himself up for failure because the more you talk, the those are words you can't take back. And people at the end of the day want their actions to speak louder than your words.
You know, before we go to a commercial break here, I want to ask you something on Colorado. And it's a legit question. I mean, this is something that I really want to ask you. So do you think Deion screwed the Colorado program, knowing that more than likely, and I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen, but do you think he screwed him in a sense that after this season, there's really good chances that Shedeur and Travis Hunter and Shiloh are probably going to be gone NFL draft? You think Deion's going to stick around without those guys? He's probably going to end up taking off. And then he just leaves the Colorado program up in smoke. You had guys that were committed to play for Colorado that he just ran off. I mean, that's a very, very tough situation for that school.
You know what I told you when he first got there, that he was only going to be there until his sons left.
Yeah,
he did it at Jackson State. He promised he was going to stay there. So we know a lot of these coaches do all that talking. But in Deion's case, it's a little more involved because his sons, and I guess he treats Hunter like a son as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think after this year that those guys are gone, and I think Deion's gone. I don't think he ever really came to Colorado to bring them to prominence over the course of years. I thought he wanted to do a quick fix, a 1 or 2 year thing and move on. And I still think that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. I really do. Apparently, Shedeur Sanders is the Daniel Jones of college ball. We get another Daniel Jones reference. We got different things on Sweep the League. We always get a Daniel Jones reference somewhere in there in the chat. Mark is saying, depends. Shout out to Mark, Sports Insanity Network. Great friends and co-workers with us here at Sweep the League. Depends, but most likely you'll be coaching someplace in the NFL. I can see Deion being a coach in the NFL, just not a head coach at all. But then again, will he accept an assistant coaching position or anything like that?
What if he were offered a head coaching position with your team, Rudy, the Atlanta Falcons?
How quick can I fill out the form to switch teams on another thing? Because I mean, I'm a diehard Falcon fan. I'll support the Falcon fans Falcon team no matter what. But knowing Deion would be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, I seriously have to consider my fandom, because as great of a player as he was for Atlanta, his coaching is just not worthy, and it shows. I mean, what you did at Jackson State, you can't bring that to college football Division I, like a big tier program. You struggle. You mean to tell me you want to be an NFL head coach? Come on, man. Come on. There's no way. You've had greats. Nick Saban has gone from college to pros, and he couldn't make it work. And Deion's no Nick Saban. So, I mean, Urban Meyer, great college coach, couldn't hack it in the NFL. So everything is against Deion becoming an NFL head coach. That's just
didn't Chip try it?
Chip, yeah. I mean, Chip.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's different. Harbaugh was an NFL coach.
Yeah, Jim was different. Yeah, he started off in the NFL.
Yeah, same thing with Pete Carroll.
Some of these guys don't have the disposition to be these coaches, man, and definitely not in the pros. Deion, trying to make it all about himself in the NFL, and then talking to some of these guys like he talks to his players.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think those days are kind of outdated. You have to be more. He claims, he pretends to be this team all about the player coach, like we talk about Pete Carroll. But Deion seems to be only loyal to those certain guys. We'll see if that changes. But he kind of, to me, I don't like the way he treated the rest of his team last year. It was too much talk about Shedeur and Travis Hunter and Shiloh. And like I said, the kicker. Other than that, you barely knew any other guys existed on the team. And you can't do that in the college environment.
Yeah, shout out to Sith Lord Elias. Him and Brandon do Down for the Count. I believe it's on Wednesday nights now, so be sure to do Down for the Count. It's on Twitter or X or whatever they call it. They go live on the spaces there. They talk everything WWE, wrestling in general. It's a great, great show, great, great program. I listen to it whenever I have a chance. So shout out to them. He says he wears blenders, more like blinders. He's the issue. Yeah, Dion is the issue. Rudy and Derek, do y'all like this 2-minute warning and good? Is good for college football. I'm fine with it. I mean, I like changes in some games. I mean, I definitely do. Great players don't necessarily mean good coach. Ted Williams failed miserably as a coach, and he was basically the greatest hitter ever. Many other examples. I mean, you see that all the time. Magic tried to be a coach one time. It didn't really work out. You know, I mean, you've seen great players. Isaiah Thomas was a coach at one time. Hell, Larry Bird had success, but wasn't a great coach. I mean, you know, this is the cool thing about great players, Derek. Maybe I'm on the right path with you on this, but because you're a great player doesn't mean you're a great coach. But I think if you're a great player trying to be a coach, you have that same mentality as a player, and it doesn't work as a coach because you're expecting your guys to play the way you play. I think that happens to me too. So go ahead, man. I'm
coaching young kids, man. I mean, you know, I was coaching a 15-year-old. I told you Castle Hills this year.
Yeah.
And I had to be mindful for them, you know, playing against what they bring. I'm a superstar. So I had to be mindful of that and not, you know, I had to kind of conform to these guys, to the era that we're in today. A lot of coaches, old school, don't want to conform. And the first thing I told them from day one is this team is not about me. It's about you guys. And if you guys, I want to know the style of play that you prefer to play. I didn't implement my style of play. I asked them first what they wanted to do. And I just tried to, you know, pick it every now and then. I would like tweak a few things, very little. Yeah. Like when the game's on the line, I might come out with something on my stuff. But overall, I mean, it was about those guys, them being happy, them, you know, getting some cohesion and playing their style of basketball. So I made sure that I conformed to them from day one.
Yeah, and that's what I was mentioning, because it's like if you have Mike, you know, Jordan coaching, he's expecting the same type of hustle, the same type of mentality, the same type of everything out of his players. And let's be real, a lot of these guys are not like that. And that's the same thing, you know, with a lot of the coaches.
You can expect the hustle, Rudy. I'm sorry, but you can expect the hustle play, you know, that because that's just every time you strap it up, you're supposed to hustle. But you can't expect them to, you know, have the same kind of energy that you have at the close. You know, they're not closers. We're trying to teach them to become basketball players. So you can't have the same expectations for them. They're kids, man. I couldn't have the same expectations for them that I have for myself. I've been fortunate, UTSA, the NBA overseas, but I can't expect those guys right now. The only thing I can expect from them is to get better from one day to the next. And that's what we have to remember. And a lot of former players, they don't do that. They want you right now. They want success. They want you to be like them right away. And that's not being realistic.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was saying, is it's tough for players to be coaches, great players to be coaches, because, man, a lot of them expect success right away. They expect you to just come out and win ball games just like they did. And it doesn't happen like that. So, yeah, definitely Colorado. They actually had the ball into the third quarter. Quick update, Colorado 24, North Dakota State 20. Still a close game. Colorado has the ball back, so it is 1st and 10 on Colorado's 30. We'll get into more updates on that as we go along. This is Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. We're going to take our first commercial break. We'll be back. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting, building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Hey guys, are you ready for a flavor explosion? Look no further than La Cocina Taco Truck, serving up the best street tacos and quesadillas in New Braunfels. With a 5-star rating and rave reviews, they're not just a taco truck. They are a taste sensation. La Cocina staff is the best in town and pride themselves on making every customer feel like family. Whether you're feeding a crowd or just satisfying your own cravings, they've got you covered because no order is too big or too small for them there. Louis and his staff are all about customer satisfaction, and they love their community. Don't worry, San Antonio friends. They're just a short trip away to New Braunfels. So why wait? Come visit La Cocina Taco Truck today and taste the difference for yourself. That's La Cocina Taco Truck, where every bite is a fiesta. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Pops the mastermind, got the team what we need. 5 rings deep, we the Dynasty Kings. From the Alamo Dome to the...
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Thirsty Thursday edition. It is Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr. Coach Gio is off tonight. Hopefully he'll be back tomorrow, but we shall see if he is, because I don't know if his PTO is still in effect. So we'll check it out tomorrow for him. But yeah, we got some, we're going to get into some WNBA talk here. I saw something post up, and I'm going to show it to you right now because, like I said, I always like to get reactions, and we always like to go with that. So ESPN's WNBA rookie rankings. I don't know if you saw the latest one that came out today. So here it is for you, Derek. The rookie rankings. They have Angel Reese ahead of Caitlin Clark. Now, when we're talking rookies, we're talking pretty much just the first two when it comes to Rookie of the Year for the WNBA. Leonie Fibic, and then Camila Cardoza, Aaliyah Edwards, Rakia Jackson, Kay Martin. Those are the top 7 rookies in the WNBA right now. So you've been saying a lot, and I've agreed with you that we should see a co-rookie of the year this year. And in some instances, Caitlin needs to be a little higher because Angels team, Chicago, has struggled, whereas Indiana they've risen the rankings. I mean, you're talking about playoffs here. So the thing I'm looking at is, okay, if we throw records out, completely out, even though records matter to guys like you and I when it comes to, MVP voting, when it comes to Rookie of the Years, all that stuff, we factor everything in here at Sweep the League. But if we throw the records out, is the rankings that ESPN have right now correct?
I'm gonna say no, because in the last week, as you know, I was talking about co-rookie of the year, and I've been heavy on that, saying it over and over. But if you look at, since we've come off the Olympics, from the Olympics, Caitlin's team is ascending. They're 15. They only one game under 500 now, and Angels' team is struggling to even make the playoffs. So you got to factor that in, because the only reason I had them as co-rookies is because their impact was about the same. And now it looks like the Sky are they're stagnant. Angel's getting her rebounds, but the other day she had, 7 points and 14 rebounds, but they lost. And they've been on the losing streak. And Caitlin's team has continued to win, and they pulled off a big one against the Connecticut, I believe, and they also beat Seattle. So they're beating some of the top teams right now. The Aces are struggling. So if you look at it right now, the top 4 teams, the Liberty are struggling. They've lost 2 games in the last week.
Yeah.
So if you look at it right now, you got the Liberty. You got my second team would be the Minnesota Lynx, Nafisha Collier, and I think they're having a really good year. And then I'll have the Connecticut Sun. And then I got Caitlin and them right there. And if you look at the hottest team, Caitlin, they're 7-2 in the last 9 games. So for me, that makes a difference. And so right now, I've moved her ahead of Angel, and she's starting to get a little distance because she's playing very, very well. And the turnovers, she had 7 one game, but the turnovers are starting to go down. She's seeing the floor, understanding the game better. She's gotten stronger, it looks like, over the break. And so right now, I have, without a doubt, Caitlin number 1 and Angel's number 2. I don't know the people that's ranking Angel number 1 right now. I guess they must have been on vacation the last 10 days. So I've got Caitlin in the lead right now for sure.
Yeah, they're probably still on Olympic vacation. They haven't come back from Paris just yet. But, I guess I started studying a little bit more. And the case that I figured ESPN probably was looking at was go back to this NBA season where we saw Chet and we saw Wemby going back and forth for a while there until Wemby just pulled away. But there was a time during the NBA season where we were really thinking, well, we're going to see the old Grant Hill, Jason Kidd year. We may see co-rookie of the years because both guys were playing phenomenal. And it was hard to choose. But then when it ultimately came down, of course, Oklahoma City was the better team. There's no doubt about that, obviously. But what hindered Chet winning Rookie of the Year more was the fact that his team was better. Is that a thought that ESPN right now has, is that we're ranking Angel higher because obviously her team's not better, but Caitlin has more help, so that's why we're putting records away and saying, you know what, Indiana's going to be a playoff team more than likely, but she has better players around her than Angel Reese does. I'm trying to figure out why they're having Angel Reese higher than Caitlin Clark in the rankings.
Well, it looks like if you go off last year, Indiana was one of the worst teams in the league, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
So they had some of those same women on the roster.
Yeah.
Aaliyah Boston was on the roster, and Alyssa Smith, Mitchell, they were on the roster last year.
Mm-hmm.
So Caitlin has a lot to do with them getting better this year. They're the same team. They had the same players as last year. But now as we come down to the end of the season, who's the hottest team in the league? It's the Fever. So we could say it's because they got a better roster, but I don't think the Sky have a bad roster. You got Camila Cardoso, who's the number 3 pick in the league. You got Shenedy Carter, who's one of the best guards in the entire league.
Yeah. So
they've got a roster, and you've got a coach who is a little more known than Christy Sides by the name of Teresa Weatherspoon.
Yeah.
So this, I can't go and say that they don't have a good roster. They're just not playing well together, and some of that has to do with in-game decisions. Teresa Weatherspoon, to me, has made some questionable decisions when the game's on the line. And even giving up that layup against, you know who I'm saying, the Aces.
Yeah, A'ja Wilson.
Giving up a layup, yeah. When A'ja Wilson's 7 for 27 from the field, and then you come out and you devise a defensive scheme and you give up a layup that really was an and one. Yeah. I have to factor all that in. So, yeah, I think Angel, they'll be fortunate right now, it looks, to make the playoffs. They're fighting the Dream, I believe, is a team that's right behind them. Mm-hmm. And so they got to keep worried about winning. And I got to be honest about this, and then I'll get off of it. I've seen Angel sometime looking up at the scoreboard, Rudy, and sometimes I've seen her looking up there to really check her stats. It's hard to fool me in this game. And you could tell when someone's looking up there to see what we need to do to win at the end, or they're looking up there to see, have I got my rebounds? Am I near that 20 rebound mark and that kind of stuff? And I don't like that part. But if you look overall, I have to give Caitlin the edge right now. Right now, their team is the hottest in the entire league, and she's the main option. So I got to factor that in. She has the ball the most. Her team is the hottest team right now down the stretch.
Yeah, Tim wants to know, will we see co-MVPs this season in the WNBA?
I thought so, but right now, I'm looking at it now, I can't say that when one team is going forward and the other team is going backwards. This is not an 82-game season, remember? This is only a 40-game season. And it's basically who's the team that's the hottest down the stretch. And even when you look at the MVP, Rudy, Asia is going to probably still win the MVP, but I don't know if it's going to be unanimous now because the Aces are struggling. They like the sixth. I got them like the sixth best team right now. So how you finish matters. We always talk about it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that includes dealing with this WNBA. So right now I'm going to say it's not going to be Cole Rookie of the Year. It's going to be Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that's true. And, of course, with the MVP as well, it's going to be, there's so many players right now you can throw into that WNBA MVP race. And it's
Cole
still
MVP.
Yeah,
I'm looking at Tim.
Asia,
that's question. Hey, Rudy. Caitlin has put herself in there, hasn't she?
She has. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, you've got Sabrina as well. You can put Stewart in there.
Stewart, yeah.
Can you put a Cooper? I guess she could.
I got Nafisha Collier and Alyssa Thomas are in there.
Not Cooper, Collier. Collier, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Collier's in there. But when you're talking right now, Angel, if you look at Asia, what's she averaging? Like 27 and about 12. She's right behind Angel in the rebounding battle.
Yeah.
And like 2.7 blocks a game. No one else is doing that. And then she has 42 the other night. Even though they lost, she carried the team. Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum and some of the others have been struggling. And that's been the biggest issue with their team. And then they got all that stuff hanging over them, that cloud hanging over them about the illegal stuff they supposedly did. All of that starting to seem like it's coming down on them. But right now, I would have Asia still as the MVP because she's been doing it consistently all season.
Man, the Alicia Gray dropping off, man. That's been a.
Yes.
I've always wanted to ask you.
Chelsea Gray.
I mean, I'm sorry, you're right. Chelsea Gray.
Yeah, but there is
Chelsea
Alicia Gray, but Chelsea's struggling. Yeah,
Chelsea Gray. I can't. What happens to a player that happened? That I mean, the way she's been playing, it was like okay. Again, the Aces are that team, but then to see the drop off of some of the players, how I still can't understand that at all. I mean, it's not like you got defensive coordinators that know how to ball up. I mean, as a player, does it sometimes you just hit a wall like that and it's hard? It's like quicksand. The more you panic, the worse you play. I mean, that's a tough thing for me to understand, to be honest with you. Because I never
Chelsea does. With Chelsea, does it look? I don't know if she recovered all the way from her injury.
Yeah.
And then I know she went to the Olympics. She didn't really have time. They had a few days off. But sometimes you're not fully recovered from those injuries. I will give her credit, though. She did make that pass to Asia to win the game against the Sky at the buzzer.
Yeah.
But other than that, offensively, her shot has not been the same. She had 15 points the other night. The game, Asia had the 42. But she's been very inconsistent. Her assists have been down. And she just looks like she's struggling, man. She reminds me of Jamal Murray in the Olympics. And you look like she's lost a little bit of quickness and all of that. So hopefully it's because of the injury. But, yeah, her game definitely is not what we're accustomed to seeing.
And that's a huge knock for the Aces, too, because, I mean, she was a player that you could count on. And that's you see the way the Aces are playing this year. Are they title favorites? You got to say no. They're not title favorites at all. But playoff time, Derek, it's totally different. It's a brand new season. I mean, everything could just click.
It could, but then again, it could not as well. They just don't look like the same team. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, man. They 18-12, I believe they are. They just look, and even their wins, they're not like really convincing wins like they were at the beginning of the season. And then, as you know, Rudy, sometimes it could backfire when your main player is ripping into the team on national TV.
Oh, that interview I saw. He just said,
well, a few interviews. She's complaining about the refs looking at her and all that other stuff, and so how her players need to get it in gear and all that stuff. For them, it hasn't worked so far. For Skylar Diggins calling her team out right now, it looked like it's worked. But for Asia, it doesn't look like it's worked. And then, sometimes your team get tired when you start making it all about yourself. Yeah. And so they got several issues right now going on in Las Vegas, and they better get them corrected quickly.
We don't think Becky's going to be gone after this season, though, right? I think it's a little too early to talk like that.
No, only if it was her choice and she got a better offer. But we know it's not going to be the Spurs because you know who probably going to take over when Pop's done. My number one pick right now, and it wouldn't be Becky.
Who guy that's you gotta let everybody know who it is again.
Mitch Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Mitch Johnson would be a good
37-year-old Mitch Johnson. I think he's being groomed for that spot. I'm just telling you what I think. I could be wrong, of course, but that's just my opinion.
He wears a Spurs shirt for a reason. Yeah, he wears the Spurs shirt for a reason. So always pay attention to what Derek saying.
Mitch Johnson. But Becky, man, look, they'll get it together. All you got to do is you have a good first round. But here's the thing, Rudy, with the seedings, the WNBA, that's where it's different from the NBA. They only go by the seedings. They don't go by conference. And so right now, it's about finishing strong so you have an easier first round. I don't think the Aces want to drop to the point where they're playing the Connecticut or the Lynx in the first round.
Yeah.
And so they got these last 10 games are vital for your seeding, and they're vital for the Aces. They're a two-time defending champion, but you know how hard it is to win 3 in a row. So they got to get it together. They got to figure it out quickly.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the standings actually. So I mean, you got to forgive me on this because it's all one big standing now. So it's the top 8 that get in for the WNBA. So right now, Chicago is the 8th seed. They're in. They're only a game up on Atlanta.
Over the dream. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, you're looking at a Liberty Chicago Sky matchup. Indiana would take on Minnesota, which I actually think that would be a really good matchup. Indiana and Minnesota. Connecticut would take on Phoenix, and then you'd have Seattle against the Aces right now. So,
and that's a tough first round for the Aces. I don't think they want a team that's tough.
No.
Seattle, you got Ogwumike, you got Skylar Diggins. I mean, they got a roster. Seattle's got a roster. I believe their record is what, like 18-11. 19-11. 19-11. Yeah, and they seem to be playing well as we go down the stretches too. So that's not a team I would want to meet in the first round. Maybe the second round, but definitely not the first round.
No, definitely not, man. I think it's going to be a really good WNBA playoff season. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm actually kind of excited for it to get going. There's a lot of good storylines in there. You're going to see a lot of great players in the WNBA playoffs. But before we go to commercial break, I do want to reiterate something. If Cameron Brink wasn't injured, she would have been Rookie of the Year. I mean, she was playing remarkable, man. And I can't wait for Cameron Brink to get back on the court next year. So you and I had a little talk off the show one day this week when I told you, man, if you're looking at the Sparks with Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson, knowing they may get the first pick possibly next year, could it be Paige Buchers? Could it be Juju Watkins? Who makes the most sense for them? You said Juju, but you also said it depends on what kind of style they want to play, man.
Hey, Rudy, I watched the video yesterday of Paige working out.
Yeah.
And she had a guy guarding her, a little Asian guy looks like, but still is a guy. And hey, man, her range is getting better. Yeah, well, I'll just say this: it looks like she's healthy.
Yeah.
And so when she's healthy, that's a big question mark because we know what she's capable of, and we know what Juju's capable of. But that's a tough one for me, depending on their style of play. I don't think one of them is better than the other, but I know Paige looks healthy, and that's scary for a lot of teams that have to play against her.
Yeah. And then if Dallas stays where they're at, you have Agumwali. She's going to either get Juju or Paige. So, I mean, those two teams are looking really, really good. But, yeah, that Sparks team with the Cameron coming back, Rakia Jackson, and then adding either Paige or Juju Watkins is. Ooh, WNBA is going to look good next year. I think the Sparks are going to look really good too.
Who would be the only one that could get possibly? I like Ionescu, but who would be the one that could possibly give Caitlin a run for that guard spot? When you start talking about making all WNBA and stuff, wouldn't it be Paige? Because Juju, to me, I think it'd be a small forward.
I was going to say Juju would probably be a 3. So
yeah. So when you're looking at that guard spot, who's going to push Caitlin the most? Wouldn't it be Paige?
I would say Paige, but is it fair to say that I probably would take Paige Buchers over Caitlin Clark?
I can't argue that because one thing, she's better defensively.
Yeah,
she's stronger than Caitlin, and she has that Connecticut pedigree, man. Playing for Gino, yeah. I like Paige a lot, and that's not to discredit Caitlin. I just think Paige is going to be special, especially looking the way she's looking now. She's looking healthy, so she has the total arsenal. So she's going to be a star. I already know it. You know it. Everybody else knows it. Once she gets into the league, we're talking about a star. And I don't see that changing. I only see her getting better.
You know, and I'll say this before we go to commercial break. I will say that if Paige Buchers came out this year, she would have been number 1 over Caitlin. Yeah. People might not like you saying that, but it's the truth. Yeah, then people may not like me saying that or actually want to believe it, but definitely 100%. If Paige Buchers came out this past season and she would have been number 1 overall. There's no doubt about that. Caitlin Clark would have gone 2. So that's how good I feel that Paige is. And I think Paige is going to be a tremendous pro when she gets into the league after this season. So be on the lookout for Paige Buchers. Obviously, everybody knows her that follows UConn basketball and WNBA basketball. It's going to get better, the league. There's no doubt about that. We'll be back here in just a little bit. It's Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. When we come back, Derek posed a question. So we're going to open up the vault, the old NBA vault that we like to do from time to time, because, you know, he calls me and says, Patrick Ewing, Dwight Howard. At first I'm like, man, that's a good one, but it's kind of obvious. Then he says, also, he mentions Reggie Miller and Dame Lillard. And I'm like, I'm not a big Miller fan, but I gave him my answers. I'm going to give everybody else my answers here. Also, we got another shocking sweep the league moment here for Derek. We're going to pop something up on the screen. Who knows if he's seen it? If he hasn't seen it, we'll see if it's a tough question when we open up the NBA vault. Again, it's Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. We'll be back here in just a little bit. Howdy from Texas. You've got to be tired of the sizzling electric bills and the Texas heat, right? Well, partner, we've got the solution for you. Introducing Castro & Son Solar, harnessing the power of the sun to save you some serious cash. Their top-notch solar panels will have you soaking up the savings in no time. Imagine lower electric bills, a reduced carbon footprint, and the satisfaction of going green. Their expert team will take care of everything from installation to maintenance. We're talking hassle-free, worry-free, and stress-free solar solutions. So why wait? Join the solar revolution with Castro & Son Solar. Let the Texas sun shine bright and your savings shine even brighter. Castro & Son Solar, empowering your home one sunbeam at a time. Call them today and let's get this solar party started. Can you imagine a world where nature meets wellness, where every sip you take nourishes your body and soul? Introducing Special Leaf Tea, a line of 100% natural, ready-to-drink iced teas crafted to boost your immunity and energy. With 4 unique flavors to choose from, as in hibiscus blueberry, tangerine ginger, pomegranate blueberry, or the original, you can indulge in the perfect blend of taste and nutrition. Their teas are carefully crafted with 2 times the antioxidants and no added sugar. They're known to help with blood pressure, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, weight management, and even provide natural energy without caffeine. Join the movement towards natural wellness. Order now at www.specialleaf.com and start sipping your way to a healthier, happier you. Special Leaf Tea. Nature in every sip. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Spurs fans, are you ready to stay ahead of the game of the San Antonio Spurs with the best coverage in the business? Tune in to Locked On Spurs, the daily podcast that brings you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and all the latest news and updates for your silver and black. Join Jeff Garcia, the most informative and entertaining host in the game, as he breaks down all Spurs news and notes, interviews the biggest names, and keeps you locked into all things Spurs. From Monday to Friday, get ready to start your day with the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out on the expert opinions, the hot takes, and the can't miss guests. Make sure you're locked in with Locked On Spurs. Subscribe to their YouTube channel now and stay ahead of the game all season long. Locked On Spurs. It's the best Spurs coverage in the business. Don't miss out. All right, welcome back, Sweep the League. Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr. Again, shout out to MCS General Contracting, La Cocina Taco Truck, Castro and Son Solar, Special AT. Also, shout out to Locked On Spurs, Jeff Garcia. Great episodes coming up here pretty soon for Locked On Spurs. Again, I'll be out at San Japan this weekend with the family. If you're going to be out there, be sure to tell me what's up. I'm going to see if I can take some stickers that I have. So if you see me there, I got a couple of stickers I can give away, some Sweep the League stickers. So also, big announcement real quick, October 11th through 13th, we should be out at the Convention Center for Big Texas Comic-Con. Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, you've got tons of people. Karate Kid stuff, Karate Kid actors coming out. Sons of Anarchy people are coming out. It's a lot of people. The Goonies and Lord of the Rings, just a ton of actors, ton of stars coming out. So that's Big Texas Comic-Con, October 11th through the 13th. So yeah, Derek, I'm trying to figure out what I want to hit up first, but I want to hit up the whole who's better type of stuff. So we'll start off with Dame and Reggie. Now, I told you, for me, Dame Lillard, if we're talking careers, everybody remembers Reggie because of the New York Knicks, the battles with the Knicks, the trash talk with Spike Lee, the choke, all that stuff, pushing Mike so that way he can get the win at the buzzer. Everybody remembers Reggie for being Reggie. But in all likelihood, I hate to say it, it's kind of true. Reggie wasn't as great of a player as his aura was. And that happens a lot. I mean, he's a great player. He's one of the best NBA players, yeah. But, I mean, when you're talking Dame Lillard, Reggie Miller, it's almost a no-brainer. It's Dame Lillard.
Well, I'll say Reggie. I don't really consider him a great player, to be honest, because if you look at it, he wasn't a great ball handler. 6'7". He wasn't a great rebounder, though he wasn't a great passer. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a great defender. He could shoot the ball. But if you look at it, Reggie he didn't create his own offense a lot. He was mainly a guy that, he ran off screens. He ran around the floor like a Klay Thompson or a Rip Hamilton, those kind of guys, a Ray Allen. And so a lot of times that set him up for shots. He had a really good team, too, with the Davis brothers and Chuck Person and Rick Smith, and I can go on and on. So they had a good roster. But here's the thing where I have the problem. He played 18 years. Mm-hmm. And if you take away a few Knick moments and a few Bulls moments, what did he do for the entirety of his career? He played 18 years. He made 5 All-Star teams. He made All NBA third team 3 times. That's it. All NBA third team 3 times out of 18 years. Never made second team, never made first team. I have to factor that in out of 18 years. And so that tells me that he was a good player. A lot of people say great, but if you really look at it, what did he really do? He got that 9 points or whatever against the Knicks. Him and Mike got into the fight where they would be choking each other. Those are a lot of the moments that Reggie's known for. But over the course of an 18-year career, he didn't get Indiana over the hump. They had guys like Jermaine O'Neal. I can't leave him out. So Reggie's had a good career, but when you're talking about the best, I don't think he honestly was a top 75 player. There's a lot of guards or players, period, that were left out that I would put over Reggie Miller.
Yeah, you're talking about Dame. You know, like you mentioned, Reggie was a 5-time NBA All-Star, 3-time All-NBA third team, of course, part of the NBA 75 anniversary team. Member of the 50-40-90 club back in 1994. So then you look at Dame's career. I mean, Dame has been in the league, 12 years, I think? So, 12 years. He was drafted in 2012. So 12 years. He's been an 8-time NBA All-Star, 8-time NBA All-Star. He's made an All-NBA first team already, 4-time All-NBA second team, on the third team All-NBA 2 times, NBA Rookie of the Year. He's also a part of the NBA 75 anniversary team. So, I mean, when you're looking at accomplishments and everything, Dame's a way better player, more accomplished than Reggie. And, you know, when I like talking to people at work about stuff that you and I talk about, because you kind of get different opinions from everywhere. And one guy said, well, I mean, look at Dame. He's playing in an easier era of basketball. Reggie had to compete with guys like Mike and, you know, all these other guys. So they're the better players. Reggie wouldn't have got the love. And I'm like, that really doesn't make any sense at all to me whatsoever.